All right, so we have a quorum. We're just waiting for our wonderful flag to pop up, although Delegate Boucher has a nice set of flags behind him. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone to our February 7th delegation meeting. This should be a relatively quick one. We just have a few items to cover, and then we'll have a little break before a floor session. So we'll go ahead and get to it. The first item on the agenda is the Transportation Priorities Letter. Everyone should have received a copy of that letter. Are there any questions about the transportation letter, what it is, any differences between this year and previous years, or can we entertain a motion to approve? All right, not seeing any.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
All right, is there a second? All right, I'll second for the good of the order.
You didn't hear me. I'm sorry. I said second. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, we'll give April the second. Any discussion? All right, not hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
For the record, anyone opposed? Okay, so we'll go ahead and get that signed and sent over to the county executive, and that is that. For the next two items, I'm going to let Delegate Fair introduce those. I recommend maybe starting with the sports wagering one, Delegate, for discussion, and then the other. Go ahead, sir.
Apologies, Mr. Chair. I have to get caught up here. The sports wagering one is historical horse racing.
So I'll fill in the gaps here. So there's a letter, a proposed letter of support.
During the interim, team.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. It says my internet connection's unstable.
Yeah, so Delegate Fair, hold off because your internet, like you said, is unstable and you're kind of coming in and out. Hold tight. So I'm just going to fill in for you. So there is a letter of support, a draft letter of support for a sports wagering bill, and you're wondering why the delegation would do that. This bill would actually impact one of 4 licenses in the state, which Frederick County has one of them, at Long Shots, which is in District 3. Delegate Fair and Delegate Buckle are putting in legislation to provide our Frederick County location with the ancillary license. And this letter of support would do just that, just say that we were generally in support of the legislation for the benefit of Frederick County. Everybody should have a copy of the letter. Delegate Fair, does that surmise more or less? Okay. Are there any questions? It looks like Delegate Boucher has a question. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair. I am trying to find a definition of what is historical horse races. Because I'm not a bettor, please fill me in. I'm ignorant on the subject. Thank you.
No, it's fine. It's not offered actively in Maryland. It is offered regionally in other states surrounding us, but it is not offered in Maryland yet. Historical horse racing is essentially there are thousands, and I mean literally thousands and thousands and thousands of horse races that have happened internationally over the years. And this, unlike betting, or gambling, which is kind of a game of chance, this is actually a game of skill. And so what you do is the individual is given a set of data facts that certain horses, and they're just listed horse A, horse B, horse C, with some statistics about that horse. Then they are able to then make an educated bet on which horse is going to win that race. And then they actually show the actual historical horse race that they're referencing in that bet. And so essentially it's like betting at the horse tracks, but it's betting on a historical horse race, and you have no way of knowing which historical horse race it is. So you can't game the system by trying to figure it out, but you actually are making an educated guess based on the data and the statistics that you're given on the horse race itself. So it's a novel idea. It has been extremely successful in states like Kentucky, where their state has implemented this. It has seen a profit margin of about $9.8 billion industry in Kentucky, and it has brought down about $114 million into the state through those efforts. And I will mention that this is very, very strongly supported by our sports wagering, sportsbook facilities, our OTBs, and our horse track facilities throughout the state.
Thank you very much, Delegate.
Delegate
Thanks so
Miller.
much, Delegate.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Is Frederick County specifically mentioned in the bill?
No, Frederick County is not mentioned in the bill.
So it's a statewide bill?
It is a statewide bill.
So, Delegate Fair, how many
OTBs are there in the state, sir?
Yeah.
There's 4. So Frederick happens to be home to one of them. Boonesboro is one. There's one in Howard County, and then there's Riverboat.
and would this apply to an OTB facility?
It does. It applies to OTB facilities. It expressly does not apply to casinos, and so it gives our OTBs and smaller operators kind of an opportunity to participate in more gaming options for their clients, which I think actually helps strengthen the entire marketplace, because you now have more competition and opportunity for people to participate throughout the state.
Okay, so
And there's wait, hold on. And there's not specific licenses or types of license, like anyone, if somebody else opened up somewhere, like there's unlimited, it's just to let it happen in the state of Maryland, no matter which.
So it falls under the sports wagering section of code, and sports wagering has its own specific. I don't want to get too much into the weeds because I'm not going to have all the details exactly right. But it falls under the sports wagering section of code, which is a specifically defined process for how an institution can become a sports wagering facility and how they can apply for that license, as well as to be able to get access to historic horse racing.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure it'll come where I can see it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, Delegate Buckle is the lead sponsor. He'll be presenting the bill on behalf of in the interest that his
All right.
yeah, and I just for my own
district is impacted as well.
for my own clarification here, Delegate Fair. So this bill applies to off-track betting licenses only, and there's only 4 of those, and one of those is in Frederick. Is that correct?
That's correct. I think there is a few other facilities that are impacted by it. For example, the Maryland State Fairgrounds will be given access to it. But I don't have much more information beyond that.
Okay.
There's also an OTB in Hampstead in District 42C, Delegate Stanko's district, Hampstead.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, well, this was the first introduction of this letter. We can certainly, as a delegation, if everyone wants to wait until, actually, Delegate Valentine looks like has a question. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one quick question, since this impacts multiple different locations. Delegate Fair, to your knowledge, are any other delegations providing support letters or to your knowledge from any other counties that this impacts?
No, and apologies. I was kind of unaware that we were looking at a support letter from Frederick County delegate. I'm happy to explain the impetus behind the bill and why I support it and the efforts that it's doing. But to my knowledge, I don't know of any other counties that are considering a letter of support at this time. I would have to do some research and find out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, today was just a discussion, so we can certainly wait until a different date to, I guess, move or not move the letter if that's the will of the committee or the delegation. I'll kind of leave it open. Would you guys want to do that?
What's the hearing date?
I don't even know if it has a this is just an LR.
So it just got dropped then?
You would have to ask Delegate Buckles' office.
Okey-doke.
Yeah, you would have to ask Delegate Buckles' office, Delegate Miller. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, moving on. The next item is the noise abatement monitoring system. Delegate Fair, you're still up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this bill seeks to expand on an existing pilot program that's in Montgomery County and Prince George's County. This was brought to us by citizens that live downtown in downtown city of Frederick. It was brought to the mayor's office as well as to the chief of police's office as a novel idea for looking at noise abatement for vehicles. Basically, the way the system works is the machine itself, it acts much like a speed camera monitoring system, except instead of tracking speed, it actually tracks noise decibels. And what those software is designed specifically to pick up on is those individuals who alter their existing muffler systems or alter their engines in a way that exceed certain decibel levels, at which time then a photograph of the vehicle is a video of the vehicle is taken. It is then analyzed by a sworn officer, and then if they are found to be not in compliance with noise code throughout the city, they would be issued a citation. And it's a pretty simple, it's a pretty straightforward bill.
Okay, any questions from the delegation about it? All right. So one question that I'll just bring up is, is this a bill that the delegation should be weighing in on? I mean, so the only change to the existing law is that you're adding the city of Frederick?
The only addition that was requested by the city of Frederick, by the mayor of the city of Frederick, and by the chief of police of the city of Frederick.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing any questions, so we can certainly mull that over the next week and kind of go from there and give Delegate Fair a chance to talk with the other delegation members. Looks like Delegate Boucher has a question. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe next week have someone from the city council or the mayor himself give some testimony, because I was wondering if maybe was it like a Friday or Saturday night, teenagers doing hot rods on Market Street? I mean, what's the impetus behind this bill? What exactly is going on? I'd like to hear from someone in the city. That would be helpful. Thank you.
I'm happy to share on the behalf of the residents of the city of Frederick that came to our office with this bill and this suggestion that the city of Frederick residents do struggle with people drag racing down Market Street, and especially when they have altered the engines on or the muffler system on their cars. It is particularly loud, as you can imagine, with buildings being as close in proximity as they are to one another. The echoing effect of those engines is really quite alarming, especially at 2 o'clock in the morning when you have children trying to sleep in their bedrooms. And so the citizens, the city of Frederick residents have come to us and unequivocally stated that they would like to see something put in place to be able to protect them.
Delegate Miller?
When the authorizing bill came through last year, a lot of us had a lot of concerns. So yes, I think having either the mayor or someone on here that would be able to kind of alleviate some of the concerns that we had on how it would be implemented, would be helpful.
Sure. Were the answers that you received last year insufficient?
Correct.
Okay.
I would also like to know more about how they specifically apply. That was a general floor discussion.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, we got some work to do in between now and our next meeting. By the way, the delegation should be kind of winding down with business, because I think the bill drop deadlines have both passed, both in the Senate and the House. Thankfully, we don't have a whole lot of delegation bills this year, which I think is it's helpful, at least for our office. Delegate Kerr, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have some information on the previous discussion item. It's House Bill 1048. It has its hearing on March the 6th. The Senate cross-file is Senator Quarterman, and his hearing on the historic horse racing bill is on March the 5th.
Yeah, and just back on that, obviously I've mentioned this potential letter several times in previous delegation public hearings. So if any of you missed that or were not paying attention, it may have come a shock to you today, but it's not been a shock to most people in the delegation that we've been following this this thing. For those of you that remember, Frederick County was one of the first counties to get the off-track betting license, and we worked very hard. Matter of fact, I put the bill in, I think, I don't know, back in the day with, I think, Delegate Kerr, actually. And so we've been pretty supportive of our local businesses for quite some time, and this just kind of moves the needle forward on a novel idea. So that's kind of what we're looking at. But certainly we can discuss, the bill and the merits of it in between now and the next time, so we're ready for a vote. So.
Just, Mr. Chairman, just one point of clarification. We put in the amendment for the sports book. The off-track betting license has been in place for quite some time.
Yeah. Thank you, Delegate.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. Any other comments for the good of the order before we adjourn? This will be the shortest delegation meeting in history. All right, not seeing any. We do have the floor session today. Delegate Kerr, is that a legacy hand?
No, it's not. I would like just to make an announcement that next Wednesday, the group of students who comes to from Frederick Community College who come to Annapolis every year for Student Advocacy Day will be in the Health and Government Operations Committee room following the floor session on the 13th, if you'd like to stop by and say hello to the students. And I'll send out an email reminder to the delegation. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to that. Okay, well, folks, as usual, I hope everyone has a safe weekend. And we'll see you, most of you, on the floor here in a little while. And for the folks watching from back home, we appreciate your participating, and we'll see you next week. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right.